Selene Saxby.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. The number of job vacancies have rapidly increased since the economy has opened up. However, the number of UC claimants does not appear to be coming down at the same rate. Does this mean that people on UC are now not looking for work? And given there are so many job vacancies, particularly in hospitality, what is being done to address it, as we've actually got businesses closing where they can't get staff, and yet benefit claimants seem to be up dramatically on pre-pandemic levels?
I think if I focus on hospitality, and I'm conscious that you represent the coastal seat, so do I, and always looking for how we can help people take advantage of those opportunities. I know that the Minister for Employment set up a roundtable, Hospitality UK. A lot of targeted work has been done to try and make sure that vacancies are properly advertised so that people are aware. But I think there's also an element about working with some sectors, about recognising not everybody, say if you take chefs, is going to be in a place to perhaps do the full 12-hour days which were traditionally expected. We want to work with employers to help them consider perhaps having more flexible or having more part-time work, to recognise what talent is there but may not be able to fit the exact job specification in terms of their commitments, whether that's about children or family or any other situation. I mean, more broadly, we reinstituted, didn't we, Peter, the face-to-face interventions and we focused it primarily on young people initially. And to give you a sense, in 12th of April, when I think although job centres have always been open throughout this pandemic, particularly focused on people with vulnerabilities who couldn't really access elements digitally, while we were still doing over 500,000 phone calls at that point, we only had about just under 15,000 people come through the doors in that first week when we threw them open again. And then I think it was last week we had 250,000 people come in and do a face-to-face intervention. All the evidence suggests that the face-to-face intervention definitely drives job applications. And what we are seeking to do with our work coaches is actually to try and help people get into work, whether that's encouragement, whether it's advice, whether it's about helping them tailor their job search more clearly, reinstating aspects of the claimant commitment to make sure that's relevant, now recognising that we're so close to Road 4 of the recovery roadmap, or Step 4, I should say, not Road 4.
And just
Peter.
building on that, and Ms Saxby, you raised a question about the data and the statistics and a kind of mismatch. And the National Audit Office did a report on our employment support schemes, and I gave evidence to the Public Accounts Committee on that back in June. And one of the questions was around some of the data issues that we're seeing. And I think, by and large, I mean, vacancy data is one thing. I mean, I think that the main area that we've been looking at is whether there's any mismatch between the increase in the number of people on payrolls, so that's HMRC data, and what we're seeing in terms of intensive work search group. And by and large, through most of the pandemic, those numbers have gone in line with each other. More recently, there's been a detachment between, we had seen quite a big increase in payroll data and not the same reduction in universal credit claimants. Though, as the Secretary of State said in answer to an earlier question to the Chair, we have now more recently started to see a reduction in the number of people in the intensive work search group. So that's now down to 2.1 million, where it was back in March in around 2.5 million. So that's quite a big reduction in that portion of the universal credit claimant number. And the real focus, as I said earlier, in our department is now filling those vacancies, getting young people in. You know, as I say, we've now got to a point where 250,000 people are coming into job centres, being invited in for interviews with work coaches face-to-face. That's on top of interventions that we do over the phone. And all of that is around linking individuals to those opportunities, whether they be the jobs, the vacancies, or whether they be opportunities like Kickstart.